Hey, we're live on Facebook. Hello, everybody. It's Joanne Musa, the Tax Lien Lady. And just say hello when you get here and let me know what state you're in. I do have a couple of questions that I want to answer today, but I also want to talk to you about what I'm going to be doing next week in the 5-day challenge that we're doing here at taxlienlady.com called Ride the Waves, How You Can Prosper in Today's Economy. And we have a webinar tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, come to the webinar. If you have questions about what we'll be doing in the challenge, I can answer them on the webinar. I will tell you, and the webinar, I will tell you what we'll be doing. We'll be talking about the economy, what's happening in the economy, and what has that got to do with tax lien and tax deed investing. So my message for you today is don't get caught in the undertow and get swept out to sea. How many of you go to the beach or to the shore for the summertime? How many of you go to the beach or to the shore for the summertime? Just let me know, type in the comments. I'm here on StreamYard, but I can see your comments on Facebook. And if you go to the beach or you go to the shore in the summertime, there's a really good analogy for the economy and your finances. And that's where the name of this challenge that I'm doing and this webinar that I'm doing tomorrow night comes from, Ride the Waves. So the whole thing is that I don't want you to get caught up in what's going on in the economy, caught up in the undertow and swept out to sea. Instead, you can ride the waves of the economy. If you know what's coming, you can prosper, you could profit from it instead of, being turned around. What do I mean by that? Listen, if I knew what was coming in 1989, when we bought our first condo at the height of the market and paid top dollar for it, and then refinanced our second mortgage, if I knew what was coming, I would have done things differently and I wouldn't have had negative equity for the next 12 years in the first real estate property that we bought. Well, something like that is about to happen again. We are at the height of the market, the height of the real estate market, and stuff is going to go on with the stock market as well. The Fed has artificially kept our economy going by keeping interest rates low. Some people say they're going to go back down and they can't believe how high they are right now. Well, those people were not around 60 years ago. All right. They were not around 30 years ago. Maybe they were little kids 30 years ago and they don't remember what happened. Okay. I do. I got caught in the undertow and swept out to sea back in 1989, 1990, and it's not going to happen to me again. So I'm going to do a 5-day challenge. I'm going to have a couple of experts on talking about who was at the webinar, the wealth building webinar that we did and heard Dan Mangena talk about your money DNA. Was anybody here on that? Let me know. Type in the comments and let me know. And hi, Jana. I'm excited that you're excited about this. And my assistant Nicole has put in a link for you to register tomorrow for the webinar. It's free. There will be a replay for a limited time. Okay. So if you can't make it live, make sure you watch the replay when I send it out. And make sure you register so that you get the replay when I send it out. Okay. All right. So I was talking about not getting caught up in the undertow and getting swept out to sea with the economy and knowing what's coming and knowing what to do about it. And that is what we're going to be covering. We'll talk a little bit more about it in the webinar, about what we'll be doing in the 5-day challenge that starts July 5th. All right, July 4th is Independence Day, right? Well, it's time for Financial Independence Week, okay? And that starts July 5th. The Ride the Waves Challenge starts July 5th and it goes through Saturday, July 9th. It is free to come to the challenge, so make sure you register for that. Okay, we'll talk more about that in the webinar. If nothing else, register for the webinar tomorrow night. And Nicole has put that link in there for the webinar. We did have a couple of questions that I said I was going to answer today. Nicole, good morning, Ray. Actually, it's afternoon here. It's afternoon here on the East Coast, but good morning to you. Nicole, we had a couple of questions. And I know I got one that I sent to you ahead of time so that you could remind me about it. And I also got a question just today that I'll be answering about one of my followers who's been following me for a long time and has used the information that he's learned from me to invest very successfully in the Florida tax lien sales until this past year. Actually, the last couple years, a lot more competition in those online tax sales. And what's happened, what he noticed was this past year that there were just so many institutional buyers, and some of these buyers had hundreds or even thousands of bids on one property in these tax sales, and that it was impossible for the individual buyer to be able to buy liens. And of course, these institutional buyers, they're all bidding at the lowest rate, which is 0.25%, because they're going to get the 5% penalty. Okay, so so he was asking me, you know, to paraphrase, what gives? You know, what's an investor to do? And he did mention that maybe this will change as rates go up. And the one thing that we were talking about before was, you know, what is going on in the economy? Are rates going up or down? I personally believe they will not go down, that the rates have been kept artificially low for a long time to try to boost the economy, and they can't continue to do that. I remember when I got a second mortgage 30 years ago, around 30 years ago, at 18%. All right, so don't complain to me that you're paying 6% now for a mortgage. Yes, it can go higher and it will go higher, but don't believe me, I'm not an expert on that stuff. So guess what? I am going to bring in an expert. I am going to bring in somebody who interviews experts on the economy all the time. I've been on his podcast and I've listened to his podcast, and I always learn something, you know, very good about the economy. Things that I didn't know about, I'm always learning. And so I'm bringing him in. He's going to be here Friday, next Friday, not this Friday, when we do our 5-day challenge. He'll be one of our speakers. I'm also going to bring back in Dan Mangena to talk on the first day of our challenge on Tuesday, who was here for the webinar that we did, the wealth building webinar with Dan Mangena on your money DNA and how to use your money DNA to prosper. Okay, you're going to learn how to use your money DNA to prosper in this economy on the first day of our challenge. And then on the second to last day of our challenge, you're going to learn just exactly where the economy is going, why, and what you should do about it. Okay. Yeah, Ray. So Wednesday night, sign up for that free webinar and the 5-day challenge. I'll be talking about the 5-day challenge more on the Wednesday night webinar. So if nothing else, sign up for that webinar on Wednesday night. Okay, so I was talking about the one question that I did get today about, what's an investor to do about these tax sales? First of all, if you're used to investing in certain sales and you've been getting good results there, and now that's changed and you're not getting good results, and there's reasons why this happened in Florida. They've changed things at the Florida sales this year. Some of the Florida sales used to have a single simultaneous bidder rule where you could not bid in the sale if you were bidding in an entity, or you could not register different entities that were related in the same sale. Well, they did away with that this year. They actually catered to the institutional buyers this year, okay? Because what they want to do in Florida, and the tax collectors are fighting this, and they've asked the National Tax Lien Association to help them fight this, which they are doing, is they wanted to make it so that only institutional bidders could bid at these sales. So really, it was geared to those institutional buyers this year, and that's what happened, all right? But things will change. As the rates go up, those institutions are going to find it easier to invest elsewhere, to make their money elsewhere than in tax lien investing. There are some of them that are still going to be here, but some of them will leave and do something easier because they'll be able to get 7% with notes or with other things. And right now that's less than they're going to get, or that's more than they're going to get in the tax sales in Florida, right? They're only going to get 5% in the tax sales in Florida, even if they bid down to 0.25. Okay. So this is just my personal feeling, and I'm going to talk more in the 5-day challenge about what I feel is going on with tax liens and tax deeds, which is the best to do now, and what to hold your cash for to do later when the market does crash, because I believe there is going to be a market crash. Now, my guest on Friday is going to talk more about what is actually really happening with the economy, what people are not seeing, what your blind spot might be, and how not to get blindsided, right? All right, how not to get caught up in the undertow and swept out to sea. Instead, I want you to ride the waves of the economy. That's what we're going to do. We're going to ride the waves. And Ray, Nicole had put that in the comments, the link to register for Wednesday night, for the Wednesday night webinar. It is at 7 p.m. Eastern, which is 4 p.m. Pacific. Okay, I did have a question, Nicole, that I just emailed to you yesterday. I think it was yesterday. It was in the last couple of days that I emailed to you that I said I would answer today. Yeah, so I only, I think I emailed it to you yesterday, so check your email. Okay. All right, and we do have a question from somebody asking, what is the typical methods to pay for deed or liens at the sale? Really good question, because one thing that you have to know at a deed sale, because some people that go to foreclosure, mortgage foreclosure sales, think that you're going to be given time to come up with the money. No, you're not in a deed sale. You have to have the money that day. Some deed sales will give you an hour, 1 hour, to go to the bank, get a cashier's check, and bring it back and pay for the property that you just bought at the sale. Some will, and this depends on the state or the county, some will take credit cards. They will charge you for that. You will pay more money if you pay with a credit card. The best way to pay is with a certified check, which means you have to have a bank nearby that you could go to and get a cashier's check or a certified check, a bank check, to pay for your deed. Now for liens, again, that depends on the state and the county, or in the case of New England and New Jersey, the municipality, right? And some places in New York. But again, you have to pay there. You could pay, some places will let you pay with cash or certified check. So you may want to bring cash, or you may want to have a bank nearby where you could, if they give you the time. Now, some tax collectors do not give you time to go to the bank, and some do. So you got to find this out ahead of time. Will you have time to go to the bank and get your cashier's check and then come back with the right amount, which is the best way to do it, because then you get one check written in the right amount. Now, if you don't get time to go to the bank, what you could do is have a bunch of checks in different denominations and bank checks, not personal checks. There are some places that will take personal checks, but most won't. Okay, and some won't even take cash. It's got to be a bank check. Okay. All right, Nicole is saying she does not have it. So I am gonna just look through my email real quick and see what I can find. And while I'm doing that, well, I am looking for that question that I got that I said that I would answer today. I want to finish answering the other question that I started to answer about, about the Florida tax sales and what to do. Since this year they were just so competitive, it was hard to get anything. Okay. Maybe this person who asked me this was successful, but not as successful as usual. All right, he didn't get to spend as much money as he usually does at the Florida tax sale. So what to do? And yes, I think that will change as the rates go up. I believe that the interest rates will go up. But what if they don't? What do you do? Well, you do look for other places to invest. You look for the less likely places, the places that the institutional buyers might not be interested in. That means the little out of the way sales. Now, in a state like Florida, that's hard because they're all online. The lien sales are now all online. So go to nearby states. Go to states where they're not all online and try the live sales. I will tell you, sometimes I have better results in the live sales. Sometimes even those are competitive. Sometimes I have better results in the live sales and sometimes the online sales. It depends on the state, the county, and the time of year. All right. There are some states that have all their tax sales on the same day. See, Florida doesn't do that. They're spread out throughout the month of May. They're not all on the same day. But there are some states where all the tax sales that only happen once a year are on the same day, one day. So if you could figure out which are the less attended sales in those states, then you could have better results. All right. So let me see if I could find that other question that I believe I got yesterday. It could have even been Saturday or Sunday. So I am quickly going through here to see if I could find that question that I got. And I'm just gonna come back and see what other questions I got right now, and maybe even first. Okay, so let's see what we got here. And you're welcome, Diva. I answered your question earlier. Okay, Jean, what states have online tax deed sales? Good question, Jean. There are a lot coming up. Washington has a couple, the state of Washington in July and August. Michigan in August has a lot of online tax sales. Florida always has online tax deed sales. And what other states have online tax? Virginia now has online tax deed sales. So, and if you're a member of the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator, you could use tax sale finders and easily find out which states have upcoming online tax deed sales. Okay. So I recommend become a member of the Tax Lien Profits Accelerator and get access to that. Okay, let me look and see what other questions we have. Nicole, did you put the link in there? Yeah, Nicole did put the link in there, Ray, for it was when we started. It was early, like a couple minutes after we started for the webinar tomorrow. It's just a Zoom link. You register on Zoom for the webinar that we're doing tomorrow. And maybe Nicole can put it in there again. And while she's doing that, let me check. Check and see if I could find the one that I was talking about before. I think I found it. Oh yeah, okay, it was from Glenn. And he wanted to discuss the pros and cons of getting an agent. And I told him I would do that on this Facebook Live. And okay, let's see if I don't know what I did here. Okay. All right, so the pros and cons of using an agent to invest. You need a lot more money to invest with an agent than you need if you're going to do it personally. So if I'm going to a tax sale for myself and I only have $5,000, that's fine. But if I want to invest in an agent is typically going to need more than that, because for them to make money, they're taking a percentage. Usually they're just taking a percentage of either the total amount that you're giving them to handle or the amount that they have invested for you. So if they're just getting a small percentage of that, you have to have a lot invested with them to make it worth their while. So for some agents, it's going to be a minimum of $25,000. For some, it's going to be $50,000. If you're investing in something like the fund that I'm a manager of, the minimum is $100,000. So also, if they're going to set up a specific account for you, it might be a couple of thousand up front that you have to invest in addition to any fees that you're going to pay them, that are going to be, it could be like, it might only be 2% of the amount that they have invested for you, something like that, 2% a year. So for them to do it for less than $25,000 just doesn't make any sense. So you need to have more money to invest with an agent. The other thing is, depending on the agent, some agents are going to invest in your name. Some agents are, but it's very hard to do that at a tax sale. So if you go to a tax sale, or if they're going to a tax sale for you, it's very hard for them to have different clients and actually bid in those different names. So they're going to bid in their name and then assign the lien to you. Okay, whereas if you're bidding for yourself, you're just going to go in and bid in your name, and the lien is going to be in your name right from the beginning. It's just easier and more simpler to do it for yourself. However, if you, so those are the cons. The pros are, the major benefit is you don't have to go to the sale. You don't have to do the due diligence. Somebody else is doing all the work for you. You're going to pay for it. You're going to give them a percentage, and you're going to have more money, but you're not going to have to do any of the work. So That's the pro and con, the main ones. And if anybody wants to talk to me further about that, that's something that we could do a whole discussion on another Facebook Live. But on this Facebook Live, I really wanted to let you know about what we're doing in the Ride the Waves challenge next week and the webinar tomorrow night. So if you have any questions about that, those are the questions I'd like to answer today. All right. All right, Jean, I'm glad I was able to answer your question. Oh yeah, Nicole, you found the same one that I just found. Yeah, so I just started talking about that, and you also put the link in there for the webinar tomorrow night. All right, so on the webinar tomorrow night, I am going to talk in a little more detail about what we're going to do on the 5-day challenge. It starts Tuesday and it goes right through Saturday because we don't have Monday. Monday is the 4th of July. And so we'll be talking about, I will have guests. I've got 2 confirmed guests and I'm trying to get 1 more. So I'm not going to tell you about that guest yet because I don't know if she can make it. But Dan Mangena, if you've been on the webinar with him, he's going to be back. And by the way, if you were on the webinar with Dan, he gave a resource page that you actually got a free ticket to his upcoming workshop that he's doing on Thursday. So I am also going to sign up for that. But he's going to be back on the first day, on Tuesday, for the 5-day challenge. Then on Friday, I'm going to have Kirk Chisholm, who is the creator of the Money Tree podcast. And he's going to talk to us more about where the economy is actually heading, where we are at now and why, what the history has been and where we are heading and what to do to protect yourself. What not to do. One of the things not to do right now is pay off your mortgage, pay off your house. It's better not to do that right now. And I'm going to let him tell you why that is. Excuse me, I was getting a little bit dry. I just needed to have a sip of my, this is my immune drink. It has some minerals and vitamins for immunity, including zinc and vitamin C. Okay. All right, so I think I answered the questions ahead of time. Now, this is not Ask the Tax Lien Lady Live. We did do that twice this month already, and we are going to do it next month. We do Ask the Tax Lien Lady Live the 2nd and 3rd Tuesdays of the month. And this month we had to switch them around a little bit because I had a training that I was doing, a leadership training that I was doing this month. But next month we'll be back to normal. It'll be the 2nd and 3rd Tuesday of the month. And it's at 2 p.m., same time that we're doing this. And that is Ask the Tax Lien Lady Live, where you could just come and ask me your questions. This is a little different. This was a special Facebook Live that I did kind of spur of the moment because I wanted to let everybody know about the webinar that we're doing tomorrow night and the 5-day challenge that we're doing next week. Okay, but if you have any questions about the webinar, the Ride the Waves webinar, how you can prosper in today's economy and the challenge, this is the time to ask me now. And I'll be happy to answer them for you. Both are free, by the way, to sign up for. If you want there will be a VIP for the challenge. For $49 for the entire week, you could get all the recordings. The recordings will only be available for a very short time from the challenge in the Facebook group. The challenge will be in the Facebook group. So in order to be in the live challenge, once you sign up for the live challenge, You'll get the information on how to join the Facebook group. It's the Investing for Success group. If you're not already a member, it's free to join. It's a private group. We'll be doing the challenge in there. But if you do purchase the VIP ticket, then you'll be able to stay. The challenge is only 30 minutes a day. All right, so it's not going to take a lot of your time. It's in the middle of the day. Well, for us Eastern people, it's in the middle of the day. For you Western people on the Pacific Coast, it's in the morning at 9 o'clock. Okay, but it's only 30 minutes. And then if you do want the VIP ticket, you could stay for Q&A for another 30 minutes on Zoom. Okay, so we're going to live stream to the Facebook group for the first 30 minutes. But if you get the VIP ticket, you could be on Zoom with us for the whole hour. Okay, and get all the replays. All right. Oh, so Ray, you registered for both the webinar and the 5-day challenge. Great. Can't wait to see you on there. We answered Glenn's question, and we answered, that's a question that we got a couple of days ahead of time. And I answered another question that I just got today. On the, you know, what's an investor to do about the Florida tax sales that were kind of really competitive this year. And is that going to be changing? Okay, we'll talk about that in the 5-day challenge. Okay, I guess I just answered your question, Ray, 30 minutes a day for free. And is there homework? There might be homework. Because I'm having guests, I'm not sure if there's going to be homework from the guests. I haven't decided on the homework yet, but there might be. You know that in the challenges I've had in the past, there was homework. And so and by homework, I might just give you an action thing to do each day. So it's not going to be hard homework, but there will be an action thing to do each day. Oh yeah, Nicole says, yes, there will be homework. Yeah, Nicole knows me, what can I say? And there will be, there will be resources too. As a matter of fact, when you sign up, you'll get my state guide immediately, just for signing up for the 5-day challenge. You'll get my state guide, and you'll get into the Investing for Success group if you're not already in there. All right. Any other questions before we end today's Facebook Live? All right, now did you guys all, okay, so here's your homework for today, even though this isn't the challenge. This is just a Facebook Live. You guys are not used to getting homework from Facebook Lives, but yes, your homework is, here's your action step from today. Register for the webinar. If you want to register for the challenge, that's great. That'd be even better, but at least register for the webinar. Tomorrow, it's tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, and you just register on Zoom. The Zoom link for you to register is in the comments. Nicole has put it in the comments. Okay, so yeah, Ray's happy, he's already done that. Okay, awesome, Ray. Who else has done it? Who else is already registered? You're already registered, let me know. Say me in the comments, me. If you're not registered yet, why not? Why not? Go do it now. It's easy, you just click on the Zoom link that Nicole put in the comments. You put your name and your email in there. And with Marilyn, great. Okay, awesome. Anybody else? I know there's more than just a couple of people here watching this Facebook Live. So, yeah, thank you, Ray. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad that you see the value in everything that I provide for you guys. That makes me feel good. Makes me feel good when it makes me feel like I'm actually helping you. Okay, which is my goal. All right. We're going to end this Facebook Live. I'll see you all tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. All right. And if I don't see you then, have a really great 4th of July. Bye, everybody.